And I've been thinking, the one.
The alternative is not an alternative.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
the Chris guy
Ooh,
who's
ooh,
kind of
Yes.
in the
Yeah.
pocket of the liberals, okay.
Yes, sorry.
The one thing that I've had some issue with what he said was the public-private partnerships, which is the,
That's a
yeah.
problem.
That's a
That's-
big deception.
and he-
That's a
and
big
his-
deception.
oh, of course, you see right through that,
Yeah.
especially after taking this class.
Yeah.
You sit there and they say that,
Someone else something
you're
too.
thinking, because there's a lot of things that he says are good, but I emailed him about that issue and I thought, and that was one of the questions that was posed to the mayoral candidates when they were having their debate. And I thought, they need to know that there are some people that are definitely opposed to this. No matter what, full stop. No matter if you make a bunch of money for it, that's not the government's job to make a bunch of money for it. No matter if you lose a bunch of money, that's not the point. The point is, we shouldn't be involved in private enterprise, because it's private.
And that's what Sharon Anderson understands so clearly with the whole Agenda 21 clause that's in our city government, you know. If he doesn't understand that, then we need help, don't we?
So, yeah,
We
so
do,
I was
and the
thinking,
good
you know,
great
if we
thing-
even write a statement of principle and have some people sign it, present it at city council meeting. The citizens have this principle that should, our lines are clearly drawn. Do not step over that. Do not use this sacred money from the city in any form of private partnership. It seems like it should be against the law to me.
Yeah. Well,
So there's something about that I want to do. I don't know exactly what, but
Still
Yeah.
finding your
I
spot.
emailed Mr. Brust, he emailed me back with his same party line speech.
And what was it?
Well, he was
Maybe
talking
you
about,
misunderstood what I said. Oh, is that what he said?
kinda, yeah. But at least
forward on the email.
I've started a little dialogue with him, which is not really something I would have done
Yeah.
before.
Oh, that's so vital.
Yeah, you know, one good example of what government partnership means is, back when we were raising our children, they just began this whole idea of the partnership in education.
Parents
You know,
are partners.
Partners
in
are
education.
partners with the teachers and the PTA and things.
Yeah.
And what it meant,
Can I tell?
go ahead.
Can I tell what the Concerned Women for America president
Okay, you
said?
tell, but I'll.
She said,
you
all right,
say-
I'm so
Go ahead
sorry.
and then I'll finish
She
with
said,
what my
the
comment would be.
parents are not partners in education. We are sole proprietors,
Proprietors.
right?
So,
So,
yeah. We're not partners, but they're our kids.
yeah,
They're there to assist us if they
Yes,
uh,
yes.
yeah, so,
And you know, that's true in a lot of situations.
will. Mhm.
yeah,
I've had a doctor tell me something, I said, you know what? I'm in charge of this body, you're not.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Well, and what's our government?
Mm.
The government of the people, by the people,
Yeah.
for the people. These people are elected to serve and make sure that our freedoms are retained, not to be our partners in guiding our lives.
Yes.
We should be free to guide our own lives, and that's where
It
it's
does
so
not take a
messed up.
village to raise my children.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's really good, I'm
Mother
glad you're
raised
writing
them.
about that. And that brings up the point, one thing, and it's something I continually try and push myself to get back into, because I've done it from time to time, and that's you need to communicate with those people you've elected. You need to write letters, and nowadays you need to email them, it's so much easier even. You don't want to become somebody that they immediately say, oh, here's an email from this person, dump it, but have something meaningful, and from time to time with things that are important at that point, be sure and say something. Because that's all they have to depend on. And when they get enough influence from not very many people saying the same thing, they go, oh, this must be what's important. Whether it's because they're awakened to something they didn't know, or they're worried about their election. Either way, they kind of go, uh-oh, I better steer myself this direction.
Speaking of which, does anybody know how Hatch voted today? No,
I haven't heard, no.
I need to find out.
Karen, what do you vote on?
The closure for the
Oh.
the continuing
So-
resolution and the defund Obamacare. You know,
Yeah.
the cloture was the vote.
Yeah.
Every Republican voted against the bill once they were voting, but
Mhm.
the cloture was the real vote.
Cloture, what's that word mean?
When they're debating a bill on the floor, they basically, when they vote for cloture, that's saying they're voting to stop debate and move on to vote on the bill. So they actually have a vote about whether they're going to go on and vote.
Yeah.
So
Or
that's
whether they're
basically
gonna
what
discuss
cloture
it.
is.
Yeah.
What they needed was more time to gain. They were gaining some. Of course, they probably never would have gained enough, but it would have
Yeah.
it would have slowed the Senate down. It would have. What they did was they stripped the bill that the House of Representatives sent them about defunding Obamacare. They took all the Obamacare language out of it because the Democrats do not want to be on record as voting for Obamacare because nobody in the country wants it, not even Democrats.
Yeah.
So with going on to vote for the bill, they were able to strip all the
Which
wording
then makes it
out.
powerless to
Right,
affect Obamacare.
right. And now it goes back to the House of Representatives, which is a good thing. The Senate is gearing up for another showdown because what they send back is not going to be what the Senate wants to see either. So the House hopefully isn't backing down. We'll see if they do or not.
Yeah.
It'll be in the next couple of days. But the cloture vote, there were only 19 Republicans that voted no to cloture. And what someone said on the radio.
So they didn't want to bring it up, they don't want to bring it to vote? Is that the deal?
Right, they wanted more, debate, they wanted more time to gain more,
Over right there, so sit over by the piano.
gain more energy against,
You can
stripping
sit
the
right
bill.
Okay, that's it.
Hi.
Welcome, I'm glad you're here.
This is our daughter Carrie, and I think you've met Joseph already, who's here.
Anyway, so I was just wondering how he voted on the cloture. I know how he voted. Every Republican voted against it once it was the bill they were voting on. But I heard someone say today, some powerful Republicans bucked their leadership and voted no for cloture, and I thought, well, he would be considered a powerful one, even though I think he's a doughhead.
Yeah.
I want to know how he voted.
That's what disturbed me back during the election. Everybody wanted him in there because he was so powerful, handsome, and I go, yeah, but what's he doing with that power? And what is?
It's not the direction we
Yeah.
want to go.
He's calling the citizens ugly names. Basically, is all he was doing with his power then. Anyway.
So we're talking right now about, because this is our last class of the 8 that we've done, it was recommended to us to talk about what's our action plan moving forward from here, from what we've learned about how to, specifically she asks, what are we going to do to increase public and private virtue in our own lives and our own selves? And so we're just kind of throwing out ideas about what we're going to do or what we are currently doing. It doesn't have to be something drastically changing from right now, but what we're going to do. And as I just thought and worked on it, I had a day this week. My mom gave me the day off, and I was at the library and pondering and writing, one of those lovely days, and thinking about it and thinking about, okay, now I've been reading, we've been talking, and I just want to go and have a huge influence, and it's not the right thing for me to do, to just go out. It's just not over and over.
Waste your time.
I want to, I gotta email this person, I gotta get involved, I have to find out this issue, and that's just not right for me. And so it's this battle in me to talk about how much we need to save our liberties, and that's not the way I need to save my liberties right now. Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of what I need to do, but so much more of what I need to do is not that. And so I thought, the big thing that's going to be different for me, because I took this class, and it's already begun, is I'm going to look for principles and we're going to talk about them in our home. Because we've talked about that a lot, that any of these principles of liberty, if they're true principles, they apply on all levels. And so if it's a principle of government, well, I want the government in my home to be the right kind of government. And so it needs, and the government in my own body, my own self, to be the right kind of government. And so, and we've done that a little. There's a few principles. One of Richard Mayberry's main principles that he talked about that has just come up over and over since I've read it in my home, and I'm trying to teach my children specifically in this new language of, he says, you do what you say you'll do. And so, I mean, that's not something that I couldn't have come up with without taking this class, but it got me thinking that way. And thinking, okay, if this is a true principle, I need to figure out how it applies to my family. And so that I'm actively working on teaching my children these principles more than I would have otherwise, and applying them to myself. And so that's more about personal virtue. That is private virtue right there, to work on that. And then the public virtue for me is just going to be little conversations with neighbors and board members, and sometimes on a blog and on Facebook, and going to meetings now and then, and that kind of thing. And so that's my action plan that I've come up with. But I wondered if anyone else had anything to say about what they are doing or plan to do, or I know many have done much. I just have to start and stop this now and then, so don't mind me.